Okay, so I had some audio issues where I was way too quiet for some reason. It should be fixed now. Hopefully, I'm not too loud since I put all the volume slider all the way up. But I think this should be a good volume. But if I'm too loud, just make me quieter, I guess. But anyways, here is the Lord's Prayer in Gothic. It's the page of the Codex Argenteus with most of the Lord's Prayer. The beginning is on the previous page, and so at the end of the previous page you have Atonsar thu in himinam, and then this one starts Vichne namothin quimme theudinassus thins werthe vilja thins swin himina jachana erthe le funsarana Thana sintiinan gef uns himmalaga rachaflet uns statis gulans siema soaswe jahwi safletam them skulam unsarem Rachne bringes uns in frestovenje aglosi uns af tham ovelin unter thins ist thiudan garde ach machts Ach wulthus ewins. Amen. So I mean, this is probably like the most recognizable part of the Bible. Like everyone, or a lot of people at least, have the Lord's Prayer memorized. But in any case, it starts with like, Our Father, Thou in heaven. Wichnan is the verb here. So we have Wichnan, which means to be hallowed. And it's in the operative, so it's Wichne. So may be hallowed, name thy. So hallowed be thy name. Quimme theudinassus thins. Then we have the optative again. We have quimman and quimme. So third person singular optative, and it's of this verb quimman, which means to come. Quimme theudinassus thins. Thy kingdom come is what it is, but like may your kingdom come, if we're like, is another way you might say it in like more modern English or like whatever. Werthe vilja thins. So here we have werthan, but it's again in the optative, so we have werthe. So werthan can mean a few things. It can mean become, but in this case it's you might translate it as like to be fulfilled or like to happen. So it's in the optative, like again. So may your will be fulfilled. Willia, will, thines, yar or thy. And if we're using the more archaic words where thy is singular. Swe in himina hana ertha, as in heaven, also on earth. And this is the dative. So we have this at the end. It's from ertha. So we have ertha versus in erthe, or ana erthe, or tu erthe, or whatever you want to put there. Se hunsarana thana sintiinan. Bread are, and then this ana is just accusative singular. So if it was nominative, it would be like lev sunsar, but it's accusative, so lev unsarana. This ana being like marking its accusative, not to be confused with the ana in ana erthe. funsaharana thanas sintiinan. This word is a little bit strange. Well, it has this sin prefix, and then it has teens, and neither of these like parts are really like attested elsewhere in Gothic that I can remember. But we do have, for example, we have like Sinwelt, which means round in Old English, and I think, it might be in a few other places, I don't know. But in any case, it just means something like always or every day or something like that. Give uns himadaga. Give us this day, give us today. Himadaga. And this is dative, so nominative, histax, and dative, himadaga. And hinadach would be the accusative. I think you might also have histagus for genitive. I don't know what the vocative would be. Maybe just the nominative. I don't know. Or like, it might be something like histach. I really don't know. Or maybe it just didn't have vocative. Let's see. Himmedaga. Gaffa fleet one sati skulans siema. Okay. And we have like athleton, which means it's just off plus leton, and it means like to forgive us. Well, afflet uns, forgive us, and this is imperative singular. So you're telling like the Father, forgive us, thati, that skolans, debtors, siema, we should be. And this is again the optative, but it's not sie, because that's third person singular. Siema is first person plural. So there's also like CS, and I think it would be CEO for first person. CS second person singular. CS I think would be second person plural, and then C would be third person plural. I think this is how it works. I'd have to check if I made a mistake there. Faswe ahuis afletam them skulamunt serem. Just as also we forgive those, and this is the word them, but you might notice that the M is like kind of small. That's just how it's written when it's, at the end of a line sometimes. Skulam unsarem, our debtors, or debtors are. Gachne bringes uns in frestuvenie, and you shouldn't bring us into temptation. I think this might be the plural. No, frestuven. I'm not sure what the nominative would be. Whatever. Aklosi uns aftham ovelin, but free us away from that evil. And here we have the dative again. I'm not always going to like say when there's a dative. I probably haven't always done that, but it's nice to keep in mind that if you're translating something into Gothic or reading something in Gothic and it's in a form that looks different than the nominative, oftentimes it'll be like accusative or dative. We don't really have. I've probably said in a few other videos, but like accusative is like him, and the nominative is like he or she, and then the dative is usually just, it's the same. In English, we have just like to her, to him, etc. But in those cases, you would use the dative. In Gothic, it's typically used with prepositions a lot of the time. Aglosi un saftamma ovlin, und tethyn ist thewddan gare, ach macht, ach wolthus in ewins. Because yours is kingdom. We don't have the kingdom here, because sa is used a lot less than the is in English. Ach macht, and the power, or just and power. Ach wolthus, and glory, in ewins, forever. In English we say forever. In Gothic, here it's in ewins, in eternities, or you could say forever and ever, which is what I think the Latin also uses for where Gothic has in ewins as opposed to like in ewin or whatever. Amen. And then amen is just amen, or like amen. Unte Yahweh affletith manam misedevin size. For if you all forgive men of their misdeeds, affletith Yah Iswis atta Iswad saufar himina. Shall also forgive you, the Father, the one over heaven. That's a bit confusing if you translate it word for word, but your Father in heaven will also forgive you. If Yahweh ni aflet it man am misedevin zize. But if you don't forgive men their misdeeds, or misdeeds there, netho atta iswara afflet, netho atta iswara, netho atta iswar affletith misedevins iswaros. Then neither shall your Father in heaven. Then neither shall your Father forgive your misdeeds. There's no in heaven there. Athan bithe fasteth, ne wertheth swaswe the liotans wore. But when you fast, don't be, and we have werthan. Again, in this case, it has a meaning that we might translate as just, don't be. I don't know if there's an imperative of wisan. I don't think there is. So if you want to tell someone to be something, I think you should just use werthan with the imperative. Athan bithe fasteth ne wertheth swaswe the liutans gore. But when you fast, be not like those how would you translate that? Those like sorrowful people, those sad people.